It's a great pleasure. It's a great pleasure. It's a great pleasure to have all of you here today. I thought you all might begin your tour here.
It is a great pleasure to have you all here today. We're coming live from Denver, Colorado with Shop.org, and I'll be talking to Sept Delhi from Valiant Partners.
And I'll be speaking to Australia's own Grant Arnott from Power Retail.
And we'll also be catching up with Andrew Jones from Online Retailer. So let's get into it. I'm here with Sept Delhi from Valiant Capital Partners. How are you?
Doing great today.
Welcome to eCommerce and Carry On.
Thank you.
So what brings you to Shop Talk in Denver?
So I've been looking at the retail market globally and trying to understand how the landscape is changing. So just learning about new trends here and the new developments in e-commerce.
Right. Now you guys are really at the forefront of investing in this sort of sector. What sort of properties you got? I hear it's Pinterest, you're into Apple. What are some of the companies you're invested in?
So we have, if you do just a 13F on Bloomberg, you see we have holdings in Apple and Google, and we did a round in Dropbox, and we are also investors in Facebook. But yeah, we're always looking for great companies globally, and trying to be at the forefront of trends.
Wow, so you must be a smart young man to get such a job. They tell me you went to Harvard.
Yeah, I did.
And you went to school with the guys from Facebook.
Yeah, one of the co-founders, Eduardo Saverin, we're in the same social club, so
wow,
it's just pretty amazing. Really great guy, fantastic guy, and it's just great to see what he's doing now.
So it must have been an amazing time at Harvard during that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what did you think of the film when it came out? Was it, very accurate to what went on then?
Well, the film obviously was exaggerated for Hollywood, and it was also just one side of the story. I thought the movie, by the way, was incredible.
Yeah.
The social clubs are not that fun. They're great, but the party scene in there made it look like it was Vegas, and that just wasn't the case. It was a bit exaggerated, but yeah, I thought it was a great movie.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for joining us on eCommerce and Carry On.
Thank you.
Cheers. I'm here with Andrew Jones from Online Retailer. Andrew, what brings you to Denver?
Well, I've come to Denver to find some speakers for the next upcoming Online Retailer event.
Yeah, we're in the middle of an interview right now, actually.
I've also come to find thought leadership and some best practice.
So who have been the speakers who have stood out to you at this event?
I think the overall story that was presented to us in a keynote by Toys R Us was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it was amazing.
The Nordstrom business model excels from multi-channel to multi-channel.
Still a family company too, which is just amazing.
That's amazing. And I think the H&M story certainly was an interesting story for Australia, because it looks like they're going to come and open a store.
Yeah, great. So Marks and Spencer, do you think there's any lessons for Australian online retailers there as well, with their attitude to, at the moment they're just trying to put up taxation barriers to stop trade?
Well, essentially what you've got with those guys is they've just left all the problems behind, decided to go for it in a real multi-channel way. They're trying things, they're evolving, and they're making their business core online as well as offline. That integration is really unique, and the way they're going about it is absolutely fantastic.
Right. Well, thanks for your time today.
Hi, Carl Hartman here, and welcome to a special Denver edition of eCommerce and Carry On. I'm here with Grant Arnott from Power Retail. So Grant, what interesting trends have you've seen here today?
Look, this is my fourth visit to Shop.org, and I guess it changes a little bit every year. I think the message this year has really been focused more on stores than online, which is unusual for such an e-commerce focused conference. But I think it's really been about the word omni-channel. Obviously gets bandied about a lot, so we're seeing a lot of interest in how to move in that direction. And I guess some of the messages from Toys R Us and some of the messages from Nordstrom this morning, also Marks and Spencer yesterday, really reflected around that. In some of the other sessions, I just sat in one on the future of tablets, which I know when we had Online Retailer in Australia earlier in the year, that was a big focal point as well. Just the tablet usage over here just seems to be skyrocketing and continuing to evolve. So I think retailers that aren't looking closely at how customers are interacting with them via tablet devices are going to be missing out on an opportunity as early as this Christmas. I think there's going to be a lot of online shopping happening via the tablet devices.
And how do you think our Australian retailers are comparing to the US counterparts?
Look, I think it's really exciting. As I say, I've been to this show a number of times now, and what we see, or what I see, is that there's a tier of retailers at the upper percentile end that are doing really well and fair to say are ahead of probably anyone in Australia. But then the rest of them are below that, are really grappling with a lot of the fundamental problems that the Australian retailers are facing. And I think a lot of people have got a handle on the front end, but it's making the back end profitable and joining together all the logistics challenges that everyone faces to actually make the direct-to-consumer model or direct-to-home model profitable. And again, that was back to what Jerry Storch from Toys R Us was talking about yesterday, was that that is the big challenge. I think a lot of people can get the front end right now, but and you know better than most that the back end part is the real challenge for most, and solving that, then you can turn the tap on. Oh, absolutely. And from my perspective, spending a bit of time here, I guess I was actually quite surprised. I would have thought that the back-end solutions in America would be more advanced, but I think in that regard, our Australian counterparts are doing quite well. There's a lot more thought that seems to go into here, where I think they're a little bit more complacent here, and certainly talking to the likes of the Marks and Spencers. Whilst they've got quite mature domestic offerings, they're now starting to think abroad, and Nordstrom no different. And I think also we look to the Australian retailers. I mean, we're surrounded by such a sea of opportunity in Asia as well. I mean, we're so fortunate actually where we are in proximity to the world, and I certainly think from a back-end perspective, we're going to see a lot of models evolve very quickly. And it was definitely from talking about stores. I mean, 2 years ago here, people were just talking about shipping from a single DC. Now it's the click and collect, the ship from store, and it's the customer experience is finally starting to creep in. And interestingly, it's the trend that I sort of picked up is it's the customer-centric view that's everyone's focusing on, and probably in response to someone like Amazon seems to have got the retailers all on their toes a little bit. That's right. Yeah, Amazon's really been the massive disruptor here, and ultimately that may impact Australia as well. I think eBay's causing disruption in the Australian market. So these things are good, because it shakes up the retail space. Absolutely. It's always good for the consumer, and it's up to the retailers to adapt. But I think back to the original question, the Australian retailers, especially the ones that have come over here, the likes of who have we got? Grays Online, Harvey Norman, Woolworths, Bing Lee, Apparel Group. I think they can walk away from this being very proud of what they've achieved in the local market, and seeing themselves on a par with what the US retailers are doing. Well, certainly. I mean, the bricks and mortar guys here are sitting. A lot of them are sitting quite pretty. They're innovating. They've got. You heard Nordstrom this morning mentioning how profitable they were just by focusing on the customer. And I think there's probably a lot of parallels with Nordstrom with some of our bricks and mortars retailers at home. And I think there'll be some good lessons there, and they really reinforce, as you say, that focus on the customer, down to ignoring the challenges of how to credit stores and salespeople appropriately, and actually just saying, look, we've just got to get it right for the customer. That's our mission, and everyone in the organisation will then benefit. And they don't seem to be paying lip service; they seem to be living it. And the proof was there this morning. Correct. All right, Grant Arnott, Power Retail. Thanks for your time today.
Thanks for joining us on eCommerce and Carry On this week. I hope you enjoyed the show. And thank you to Carl from Commando for filling in for Chris.
Thanks, Bill. Happy to be here.
So you enjoyed the trip, Carl?
Mate, it's been great.
It has been great. So we look forward to seeing you again next week. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching. Cheers.